Oh, hello. What's going on, guys? Thank you for joining us again for another Mercado Airwaves Facebook Live show. I'm pretty excited about doing this one. Give me a second. I'm going to let people start getting checked in. Hope you guys all had a nice day at work. So, give me a second, okay? All right, guys. Thank you for bearing with me. Hopefully, you guys are all having a wonderful Tuesday. If I sound a little nasy, it's because one of you guys got me sick. Please wash your hands. There's nothing worse than having a cold in the middle of summer. Makes life a little unenjoyable, but whatever. Let me know if you guys can hear the audio. We're doing things a little different today. We're going straight through the board itself. So hopefully you guys are able to hear the audio much more clear than you guys were to in the last episode. So there's a few things I wanted to talk to you guys about. If you saw the caption on the video, there's some drama going on in sports that I wanted to get into, and just in general, I was feeling kind of inspired to do something like this. There's some interesting news going on in the media world, both on terrestrial radio and through the internet. I just felt kind of good. I wanted to get on the air and do something kind of fun. So, why don't we go ahead and just chatter a little bit about some stuff going on. Why don't we go behind the scenes first? So for any of you guys who were looking or following us all over social media, you can follow me on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And of course, iTunes, Stitcher, anywhere you get your podcast, just look us up, Mercado Airwaves. You saw that we were teasing an interview with the featherweight champion of the world, Max Holloway, and it didn't fall through. And for all you guys who follow us all over that, and you guys know what ended up happening, he through the weight cut wasn't looking too good and ended up being hospitalized. But the reason I bring it up is just to kind of show you guys how I take all of it. Is when something like that happens, I hate teasing interviews that we're gonna do until they're done. For me, what it is I hate not being able to deliver something, especially if it's something I think that would be pretty cool. And having one of the pound for pound best champions in the UFC, what ended up being one of the biggest cards that we're gonna get to in just a little bit. I was a little bummed about that. But I'm more bummed because I let people down. And that's why I don't like teasing a lot of these things. I like them to just kind of pop up in your feeds. So, excuse me. So I definitely, I tread lightly now when those type of things happen. But, then again, you guys are always amazing. And, we wish Max the best. We're going to probably have him on the show the next time he gets on the card. So, just stay tuned for that. But if you've missed, we have amazing interviews from the UFC with tons of legends and champions. Check that out at Mercado Airwaves. But yeah, I think you guys will really get a kick out of some of those interviews. So thanks for being patient on that front. But why don't we stay in the UFC world? Daniel Cormier beat Stipe Miocic for the heavyweight championship in the first round of UFC 226. Amazing pay-per-view. I thought it was a really good card, other than the Derek Lewis-Francis Ngannou match. But, where does that put Stipe? Where does that put Daniel Cormier? That to me is the interesting conversation in all this. Because at the end of it, what do we know about MMA math, right? That's what a lot of people call it. The MMA math is whether or not who beat who and when they do it, right? So, in the case of Daniel Cormier, a two-time champ, consecutively holding the light heavyweight championship and the world heavyweight championship, but he's got the two John Jones laws. Now, John Jones, who's been popped for steroids. Now, again, whether or not he needed them to beat Daniel, that's one thing, but it's in the books. And again, for any of you guys who are listening, if you can't hear the audio, please let me know if it's not good. We're trying things a little different. We're running it through the board itself, so just let me know. But John Jones beating DC twice is a big deal. Then you have DC beating Stipe. That's a big deal. But Stipe defending the title 3 different times. Pretty big deal. What about Cain Velasquez? There's so many variables to this equation of who's the GOAT. What we are learning is we're trimming the fat of who that is. I think for the longest time, Anderson Silva was a clear-cut, top-tier, the greatest of all time. But being popped as many times as he has for steroids, do you give him the pass? Because he was doing it at a time where everybody kind of was. So that to me is where it gets a little sticky with some of these guys, is where they are when it comes to suspensions and drug violations. And to me it's a big deal if it were, you put yourself in that situation. If you were the UFC with USADA, you set your own rules. You gotta live by them. It's up to you. So if you want to be as strict on these guys like you are right now, I don't want to hear any complaints about it. That's what the sport is. So, where do you put Frankie Edgar in the greatest of all time? Where do you put Demetrius Johnson in that list? Give me one second, guys. I want to make sure the audio sounds good, okay? All right. So, let's get into a little bit of the post-fight, though. So, obviously, anybody who watched UFC 226 saw Brock Lesnar went into the cage and confronted DC, talk shit on the entire UFC heavyweight division. It sells pay-per-views, but he won't be eligible until 2019 because he's on the drug suspension. He's in the program. So what happens with DC? If you're DC, why would you fight until the big fight? Why are you going to lose any cachet? Now, you're a double champion, so you have... Where's the money fight, right? It's not in the light heavyweight division. It's Brock. That's the money fight. And if you're DC talking about retirement, you have to get that payday. Excuse me. You have to get that payday. And we're not going to get certain matchups. I believe, as a diehard UFC fan, love MMA, the big thing to me is we need certain fights to happen. Okay? We need Stipe versus Brock. We need Brock versus DC. We need Jones versus DC in the heavyweight division. We need these matchups. But what is one thing that we've learned, right? Brock's always going to test a little hot. Bones is having a little bit of a problem not staying hot, testing hot at least. And DC wants to retire. The only guy there who you can count on is Stipe. So, I'm very interested to see where this goes. But this is the most exciting the UFC's been since the whole Conor news. And it also goes to show who's the biggest star in the UFC. It's not Conor McGregor. It's Brock Lesnar. It's a wrestling guy. And I'm a wrestling fan, so for all you haters, especially the guys who know WWE is a scripted show and how amazing these athletes are and everything that goes on, they still find a way to bury their head in the sand. Go figure, in 2018, people don't pay attention to facts and stuff, or bury their head in the sand so that they, in their camp. But you can live in a world where both exist, and it's cool. But the top attraction of MMA is a WWE guy. That's it. We saw it. Brock Lesnar could do whatever he wants. And that's not kayfabe. That's not believing in his character. It's what the UFC has shown us over and over and over again. Brock is their main guy. Now, if Ronda one day decided to do something like that, she might make a run for Brock's money. But it's not Conor. Conor is mainstream. Don't get it twisted. He is one of the biggest stars to ever do it. But Brock Lesnar tells the UFC what he's going to do, when he's going to do it. Just fact. Listen to the real experts out there talk about it. It's true. So, for a guy who comes from the WWE world and how as much shit that the portion of the UFC fans, I'm not even going to say MMA fans, but the UFC fans who hate wrestling, WWE, because they think there's this weird, competition between the two. The main draw is the guy who is a national champion monster, in Brock Lesnar. So, that's my thoughts in general. Congratulations to DC. A hell of a win against Stipe. Shout out to Stipe Miocic, though. A firefighter from the Midwest in Ohio. And carried that to division. Did it clean. Never got in trouble. It is going to get kind of lost in the shuffle. But, I mean, if I'm Stipe, right? And Brock gets the next fight. I wait till Jones. Or I wait until I get that main fight. Why are you going to do anything else other than that? There's no reason to. Shout out to Christian and my cousin Consolito. Thank you, boys, for checking in. What's the point of that? If you're Stipe, you've earned the right not only to take some time off, but to get a big money fight. Both these guys have earned, and this was a big money fight, but this is the prelude to the money fight for each of these guys. So we'll find out what happens with Jones. So these four guys need a fight, though. I mean, that's just what it is. And without Conor, until we get Conor versus Diaz, Conor versus GSP, Conor versus Khabib, this is what we need. And, in case you missed it about the Holloway interview, check it out, what we mentioned about it. Again, hopefully he gets better soon and we can have him on the show. But Max Holloway, Brian Ortega needs to happen. It's going to happen in the featherweight and the lightweight. It's just going to keep on happening. So there's exciting things in the UFC, and we're going to see what the ESPN deal does. So I'm interested in all that. All right, guys, I don't want to do it, but we got to get into the NFL. And here, I hear it the best. I think I heard Danny Parkins from WSCR 670 The Score mention this about the NFL, especially the offseason and training camp, is there's only bad news in the offseason. And if any of you guys leave any comments, we'll get to them in a little while. I just want to be rolling with the thoughts. Real loosey-goosey on Mercado Airwaves on Facebook Live. We hear what happens with LaShawn McCoy and his alleged ex-girlfriend beating her up. And I'm not talking about beating up, which is horrible in its own fucking sense. Beat the shit out of this woman, allegedly, if this is true. I mean, at this point, guys, I don't know what we could say about. Oh, you know what? I know this is a sports show, but let's go social for a second. I don't know how in 2018, not only do you think it's okay, that you think it's in your right, that you think for some reason that it's the answer, but to put your hands on anybody, but on somebody you love, and beat the holy hell out of them, what are we doing? I mean, I know I'm talking about the year in 2018 and all the shit that's going on, so I shouldn't be surprised that we're down this road. But what are we doing here? I mean, are you still sitting here and thinking, I'm a millionaire athlete? Let's not even get to that point. As a human, I'm going to physically attack somebody and leave them unrecognizable. It's not a fair fight. It's usually blindsided. It's usually alcohol-induced or some form of chemically induced type of situation. When are we going to learn? And as men, it's funny. There's such a portion of men who sit out here and they complain about this women's movement and all of this. It's nonsense. They're coming after us. They're doing this and they're doing that, and then shit like this happens, right? So for all you who are going to say, well, we don't know if he did it, the fact that we can picture it and it's not far-fetched, and quite honestly, it's more probable than it is not, should be enough to tell you we have problems. It's the old adage where if there's smoke, there's fire, right? And too much in our society, we sit here and we tell each other, we understand and we feel, we have empathy. unless it doesn't hit close to home, right? So how many of us guys, because this is a sports show, how many of us guys ever really felt threatened? Ever really felt like we couldn't handle ourselves in a situation? Once or twice maybe, in a bar, in an alley, on the train station. Now imagine feeling like that all the time. Imagine having somebody that's twice your size doing that. We're taking LaShawn McCoy out of the equation right now. I'm talking about a general society. We need to be better. There's no excuses anymore. There aren't. You know, and this idea that somehow we're going to be vindicated afterwards if we're found to be, and that none of that exists. Don't put yourself in those situations, first of all. But where there's smoke, there's fire. And that's the God's honest truth, at least to me. So that's just my opinion about the whole domestic violence situation in general in this society. And then you have the whiny bitch men culture that of guys who can't handle certain things. But let's get into LaShawn McCoy. I mean, we're talking about a star running back doing this now. You know, and the league can't get out. The NFL can't get out of its own way. It can't. You have the Arizona team owner giving his political views on the team's Twitter and social media accounts about who he thinks the Supreme Justice should be. What are we doing? What are we doing here? You can't have it both ways, okay? You can't. So in the case of the LaShawn McCoy stuff, you got to act, you got to make a decision, and you can't let this drag like you did Ezekiel Elliott and all the other hundreds that have happened in your league. And then in the case of the Arizona Cardinals owner, enough. From all the people who just don't want to hear what the players had to say. And then for those who say, well, let's just stick to football then. It's like, we hear you, okay, well, let's stick to football now. What is this? What's this? You know, and not even in a political left or right stance, this organization, this corporation runs like literally, and I understand it's made billions. Perhaps it was the right place at the right time type of situation with the NFL, because look at what the NBA is doing right now, and the NBA seems a little bit more sustainable. The NFL can't stay out of its own way, and it bugs me because I love the NFL. I love that sport. I love everything it brings when it comes to hanging out with friends, with family, talking to you guys. That is half of the fun. But if you're going to sit here and try to sell me certain bags of goods and then slap me in the face, it's like, look, I get it enough with my politicians in Washington. I get it enough with my taxes with this state. What are we doing here? What are we doing here if you're the NFL? I don't get it. All right, let's see. From Juancelito, thank you, cuz. That's the downside to the UFC nowadays. The rankings are a joke. I mean, but we've heard it all. I think we've heard it for all you who keep in tabs with the NFL, with the UFC stuff. With that Fox deal, that's where it came from. Is they needed to sell to the novice fans. Oh, well, the number 6 is going against the number 5. This is a good fight, and so on and so forth. Problem with the UFC is the same thing that's wrong with almost everything in media, everything in entertainment today. It's too diluted. There's too much of it. The NFL season never ends. The NBA season never ends. If you're a wrestling fan, you got to watch 5 hours in 2 days. The UFC has a Fight Pass prelims and all this on Fridays, on Saturday, on a random Wednesday where they're in Thailand. Shout out to those Thailand Navy SEALs too for wrestling that soccer team. Dope ass people doing that. Yeah, I mean, but it is what it is, right? Max Holloway. That's the game they're playing. But let's be 100% honest, and what we saw with Brock Lesnar, it's all about the money fights. That's all it's about. 1 second, guys. I have this code that one of you nasty asses gave me because you can't wash your hands. So, if you're any of these guys, all you're looking for is a money fight, or you want to move up in the rankings. So if you're a number 5 guy, you're not going backwards. You're looking to move forward and get that money fight. So again, going back for any of you guys who missed it, if I'm DC, I'm not doing anything until Brock's ready to go. That's the money fight. That's the biggest fight of your life. Fight Brock, and if you win, wait for Jones, be done. Maybe have Stipe be your send-off fight. So, that's kind of where I'm at right now, though, guys. Thank you for the question, cuz that's kind of where I'm at right now, though, about the NFL. It really bugs me when that type of stuff happens. Because LaShawn McCoy denies everything, and his ex-girlfriend's side, their friends are calling him, steroid user, drug abuser, child abuser, animal abuser, wife abuser. I mean, look, we saw what happened with Addison Russell here in this city. I hate jumping to conclusions. But what I hate more is this problem that we're just having in society. When it comes to this, like, you have to be, first of all, like, how bad it is, but then you have to be kind of idiotic to think you're going to get away with it. Like, I don't understand how he makes too much money to put himself in that situation. And alcohol's not an excuse. Anger's not an excuse. I mean, that's just, it is unexcusable, guys. What else do we want to do? So behind the scenes, I wanted to get, I mentioned that in the post. We're beginning a lot of really cool giveaways here on Mercado Airwaves as we're growing a little bit more. We're doing different things, having really good interviews and conversations. We're getting awesome giveaways. And we want to make sure you guys enjoy and get the best of them. We have DVDs, posters. We have really cool electronics that we're giving, like little home gyms, and we want you guys to have them. But we need your help, and we need you guys to share, like, rate, review, and it means a lot to us. And it really does help us get over to that next level of tiers. And so, yeah, I'll be posting those all over social media. Follow me on Twitter at Mercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. Anywhere you get your podcast, just look us up at Mercado Airwaves. And, of course, we're on patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. But we have a lot of really cool things that we want to give to you guys. But, yeah, my voice is going. I'm feeling a little under the weather. We're going to do this again, though, and especially when there's a lot of news I want to get to. Please, anything that... You know what? Before we go, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this posting that I had. And I posted this about 3 days ago with the Zach LaVine deal. Zach Levine. I mean, I guess I'm going to have to actually figure that out. So I posted that I don't think the Bulls should have matched the 4-year, $80 million deal that Sacramento gave, in an offer sheet. And it's not that I don't like Zach LaVine. I like him. I think he's a nice player. The problem is, where is the superstar in this team? There is none. There is no championship superstar in this team. So some of the comments we got, this is coming from Michael from Ambro. To be honest, I really don't understand the hype surrounding LaVine. Yeah, he's a decent player, but he is a 3-star player, maybe 3.5 if you push it. He isn't a 4-star, much less a 5. Laurie is already a 3.5. After just his rookie year, he will only get better. I wouldn't play Zach half of that money, to be honest. That's a lot of faith in Laurie Markkinen, though. While I think he's the better piece of that trio, of the Dunn, Zach, and Markkinen, and Wendell Carter balling out right now in Summer League is pretty funny. But, I mean, cool, but neither one of them is the championship guy. That's the problem. It doesn't matter. Like, they're nice pieces, but if you really look at the deal, like the money, whatever. I think I was a little upset that they don't have 2 max deal opportunities. They have 1.5 essentially, and you can't live off this idea that they've never signed a max deal guy. That doesn't mean you don't try. I mean, that's counterintuitive, right? Joe, do not match. Tyler, do not match. Cousin, bye Felicia.
Paul Shivari, friend of the show, they have the money. They aren't attracting anyone better. He's not worth that kind of money. They almost have to match it, but I wouldn't do it if I was Garpax. But they knew they were going to do that the minute they made that trade because they knew this was coming. Sean Anderson, friend of the show, I say match due to needing some more talent unless Bulls just want to just tank and go all out next year. Plus, we could just trade him after a year or two. Yeah, but I don't think they're... well, I agree, like, they need more talent and you need as many assets as you could get. I don't think they're going to trade him because I don't think anybody wants him. I mean, obviously Sacramento does, but, here's the thing. Aaron Gordon's a better Zach LaVine with minus the injury. So there's players like him around the league. Everybody's getting one. Edgar Ybarra. Edgar, for all you guys who don't know, working up in Wisconsin, helped me so much in this career. He was one of my first teachers, and Edgar helped me out so much, so shout out to Edgar. Save the money, bring back Butler, and get Kyrie with that money next summer. If Fred is here, you're not getting Butler. If Fred is fired or gets a promotion up to the front office, maybe. And obviously we know that they're only going to be able to afford one max, and then unless they start moving other contracts. Jimmy Butler and Kyrie Irving together, does that make you a championship team? In the Eastern Conference, probably. Probably. But it's no guarantee. Not like what they have in Golden State. Not like, I don't know what they're doing in Houston with the Carmelo stuff, but I don't know if it's on that level, but it sure as hell gets you closer. Around Dunn, Marketing, and Zach LaVine, maybe it's something. Jamie Campus, the Bulls are going to match. Yeah, Jamie was very much against that signing. Let's see what else we got here, guys. You guys were really fired up about that move, and the Bulls really have that effect on people. I really can't wait into the Bulls season so we can chit-chat about that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Here's from Zach Scholmer. Match and do sign and trade. Peter Kim then can't trade for a year. And that's just what it is. Like, you're handcuffed after that. But I don't think they're making this move for a move next down. I think they really think he's a piece, and I think they really like him. I just don't get it. I don't think he's a superstar. I think he's top 50 in the league. But I don't think there's much of that. But all right, guys, I think that'll do it for us on this one. We have a full-packed bunch of shit coming to you guys on Mercado Airwaves. We have a brand new episode of The Good Brothers. We have a brand new episode of Murder Mysteries and more. We might have some interviews lined up for you guys in the next few weeks. And we're going to do a few more of these Facebook Lives on Mercado Airwaves for the Mercado Airwaves Network. Thank you guys so much for making us a part of your Tuesday night. Hopefully you guys had a good day at work. If you guys are going to work, hope you guys have a good night. Enjoy your family. Enjoy whatever the hell you guys are going to watch because there's no sports on. Actually, Cubs are late on West Coast, so I might just hang out and watch that nonsense. Heck of a game yesterday. Kyle Hendricks looked good. So we might talk about a little bit about that later on in the week. If you missed this, we're going to make this into podcast form and release it tomorrow. Otherwise, look for the replay on Facebook Live. Thank you guys so much. Follow me on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Download us anywhere you get your podcast at Mercado Airwaves. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. And of course, please be part of the competitions and the contests that we are having because we have some amazing prizes we want to give to you guys. Thank you guys so much. We will see you next time here on Mercado Airwaves on Facebook Live.